Hello GAPS families, welcome back. I want to tell you about a parent I worked with a couple of years ago. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah had done everything right. She had read Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride's book cover to cover. She had stocked her kitchen with grass-fed meats, organic vegetables and fermentation jars. She was making meat stock fresh batch every week. She was dedicated, informed and determined. But 3 months into the GAPS diet, she called me once, frustrated and exhausted. I don't know what's working and what's not, she said. Some days my son is great, some days he is mess. I feel like I'm flying blind. I asked her one simple question. What are you tracking? There was a long pause. I don't track anything, she admitted. I just try to remember, and that right there was the missing piece. Sarah was doing everything right, except she was relying on memory, not data. And when you are dealing with a protocol as complex as GAPS, memory is a terrible tool. It's unreliable, it's subjective, it's influenced by exhaustion, stress, and wishful thinking. Today we are going to talk about the one tool that transformed Sarah's journey, and that I believe every GAPS parent needs. It's not a supplement, it's not a special food, it's journaling. Stick to the end and we will get to know more about this. Hello GAPS. Hello lovely parents, this is your dietitian and CGP Pooja and welcome back to my corner of the healing world. Now I know what some of you are thinking. I don't have time to journal. I am barely keeping up with the cooking. I hear you, but here's the truth. Journaling doesn't add time to your journey. It saves time because when you track, you stop guessing, and when you stop guessing, you stop making mistakes. You stop going in circles. Today, we are going to explore why tracking is essential for GAPS success, what exactly to track and what to ignore, how to set up a simple, sustainable journaling system, how to use your data to make better decisions, and why journaling reduces parental anxiety. Let's get started. Let me start with a story that illustrates why journaling matters. Last year, I was working with a family whose child had been on GAPS for 3 months. They were frustrated. They felt like they were seeing no progress. In our call, they said he's still having meltdowns, he's still constipated, nothing is changing. I asked them to pull up their food and symptom log, which they didn't have. So I asked them to just tell me what they remembered. He had chicken yesterday, they said, and the day before, I think soup, maybe, actually I'm not sure, they said. Here is what I have learned from working with good number of families. Our brains are not designed to remember patterns across weeks and months. We remember the big things, the terrible day, the wonderful day, but we don't remember the subtle connections, the fact that every time they had chicken stock, they slept better, or that every time they had sauerkraut, they were irritable on the next day. This isn't failure of your memory, it's a feature of how our brain works. We are wired to notice novelty, not patterns, but the GAPS diet is all about patterns. It's about identifying what supports your child and what triggers reactions. And the only way to see those patterns is to write them down. Let's talk about the data memory gap. Research in cognitive psychology shows that human memory is highly reconstructive. We don't recall events exactly as they happened. We reconstruct them based on our current feelings, beliefs, and expectations. When we are exhausted and stressed, our memory becomes even less reliable. A journal, on the other hand, is a permanent objective record. It doesn't forget, it doesn't get tired, it doesn't hope for a certain outcome. It simply records. So the first reason journaling is essential, it replaces guesswork with data. Now let's get practical with it. What exactly should you be tracking? I recommend a simple framework that covers 5 key areas. I follow the same framework in my diet program, and I have my own journal framework that I share with my parents that are working with me. I call it the GAPS journal framework. The first is food intake. This is the foundation. Track what foods were eaten, when they were eaten, time of the day, how much approximate amounts if you can measure on your own, how the food was prepared, raw, cooked or fermented. Don't worry about being exact. A simple note like breakfast, 1 egg yolk, half a cup of butternut squash, 1 teaspoon ghee is plenty. Number 2 is bowel movements. This is one of the most crucial and important indication of gut health. Track frequency, how many times per day. Consistency, like Bristol stool chart is helpful here. Color, any mucus, blood or undigested food. Ease or difficulty, like straining or pain. Many parents find it helpful to use a simple emoji system, like a green for normal, like a question for loose, like a constipation for a query asking. Number 3 would be behavior and mood. This is where the gut-brain connection becomes visible. Track mood, like calm, irritable, anxious, happy. Meltdowns, for example, frequency, triggers, duration. Eye contact and engagement. Speech and communication attempts. Then hyperactivity or lethargic. Then sensory sensitivities. Try to be specific here instead of bad day. Note 3 meltdowns, each lasted 15-20 minutes, triggered by transitions. Number 4 would be sleep. Sleep is when the gut repairs. Track time to fall asleep, night waking, how many, how long, morning wake time, quality, restless or peaceful, naps if applicable. Number 5 would be like physical symptoms. Track anything physical. Skin, where rashes, eczema, redness, dark circles if any, respiratory, runny nose, coughing, pain complaints like stomach or headache. Then energy levels. What not to track would be, I want to give you permission to let go of perfection. You don't need to track every single ingredient down to the gram or every 15-minute interval of the day. Things that are already stable and predictable. The goal is to track what changes. When you notice a shift in symptoms, you want to be able to look back and see what changed in food, routine or environment. Now I can hear some of you saying, this sounds overwhelming. I barely have time to cook, let alone keep a detailed journal. I hear you, and that's why I want to offer you 3 simple, sustainable journaling systems that actually work for busy parents. System 1 would be the bullet journal method. This is for parents who prefer pen and paper. Keep a small notebook in your kitchen. Each day, draw a simple grid of used bullet points. 1 page per day is plenty. At the end of the day, spend 3 to 5 minutes filling it in. The key is consistency, not length. System 2 would be the voice memo method. If writing feels like a burden, use your phone at the end of each day. Record a 2-minute voice memo like, today he ate, bowels were so, mood was so, sleep was so. Later you can transcribe the key points or just listen back when you need to find patterns. System 3 would be the digital template method. Create a simple digital form like Google Forms, Notions or even a spreadsheet. Set it up once, then fill it out daily on your phone. Many parents find this easiest because it's always with them. The 3-minute rule. Here is my challenge to you. Spend just 3 minutes a day journaling. That's all. 3 minutes. Set a timer. Write a record that 5 key areas. That's enough to capture meaningful data without becoming a burden. The weekly review, usually the review part is done alongside with the practitioner. But if you are choosing to work alone, you need to do it only by yourself. The real power of journaling comes not from the daily act, but from the weekly or say monthly review. Every Sunday, take 15 minutes to look back at the week. Ask yourself, what patterns do I see? Are there foods that consistently preceded good days? Are there foods that preceded bad days? How is the overall trajectory? Improving, stable, declining? This weekly review is where guesswork transforms into strategy. Now let's talk about how to actually use your journal to guide your GAPS journey. Let's talk about a case study. The hidden egg sensitivity, I named it. I worked with a family whose child was on full GAPS. He was doing well, but they couldn't shake the mild persistent eczema. They had been journaling for a month, so we pulled up the data. We noticed a pattern. Every time he had egg yolks, even the perfectly introduced stage 2 egg yolks, his eczema flared mildly the next day. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't the kind of reaction they would have noticed without the journal. They paused eggs for 2 weeks. The eczema cleared completely. They reintroduced eggs slowly and the pattern repeated. They discovered that their child had mild but persistent sensitivity to eggs that was undermining his skin healing. Without the journal, they would have kept eating eggs, wondering why the eczema wouldn't clear. With the journal, they had data and they could make an informed decision about whether and how to include eggs again. Let's talk about case study number 2. It's about a die-off. One day another family called me worried that their child was regressing. They had started a new probiotic and were seeing increased irritability and loose stools. We looked at their journal. The symptoms started the day after the probiotic was introduced. They were worried it was a harmful reaction, but the journal also showed that the irritability peaked on day 3 and was already subsiding by day 5. Bowel movements were looser, but they were regular and not painful. The child's sleep was actually improving. The journal told us this was likely die-off, not a harmful reaction. We stayed the course. By day 7, the irritability was gone and the child was calmer than before. The probiotic had worked, but without the journal, they might have stopped it too soon. The journal as your compass. Your journal doesn't just record what happened, it helps you decide what to do next. When you face a decision, should I add this new food? Should I increase the probiotic? Is this die-off or a reaction? You look at the data. The data doesn't always give you a clear answer, but it gives you a starting point. There is one more reason to journal, and it might be the most important. Journaling reduces parental anxiety. When you are on the GAPS journey, there's a constant hum of uncertainty. Is this working? Is that food okay? Was that a reaction or just a bad day? This uncertainty is exhausting. It keeps you up at night. It makes you second guess every decision that you made. Journaling gives you back a sense of control. It's not that you can control everything. You can't, but you have a data, you have a record, you have evidences. So when your child has a bad day, instead of spiraling into, is this diet failing, what I'm doing wrong, you can look at your journal. You might see that they had a poor night's sleep, or that they are fighting a cold or something, or that you introduced a new food yesterday. The journal doesn't eliminate setbacks, but it gives them context, and context is the antidote to anxiety. So I also want to suggest something that many parents don't think about: journaling for yourself. Keep a separate section for your own feelings, fears, and wins. This isn't about data, it's about processing. The GAPS journey is emotionally demanding, and having a space to unload can be profoundly healing. So how do you start? Let me give you a simple, actionable plan. For example, work today. Choose your journaling method. Grab a notebook, open a voice memo app, or create a simple digital form. Don't overthink it. Just pick one. Number 2, make your fast entry. Write down what your child ate today, how the bowel movements are, mood highlights. Write about sleep from last night or any physical symptoms. That's it. 3 minutes. That's all you need. Next, this week, Commit to journaling daily. Don't judge yourself. If you miss a day, just pick it up again. The power is in consistency, not perfection. This weekend, do your first weekly review. Spend 15 minutes looking back at the week. Notice any patterns. Ask yourself, what do I see? What surprises me? What do I want to focus on next week? So what you need to do for next month? After a month, you will have real data. You will be able to see trends you never noticed before. You will have a record of your child's healing journey that you can share with practitioners. Look back and celebrate. Sarah, the parent I mentioned earlier at the beginning, started journaling that week. Just a month later, she called me again. She wasn't frustrated anymore. She said, I finally feel like I know what's going on. I can see what works and I can see progress. I can breathe. Journaling didn't make the diet easier, but it made the uncertainty bearable. It turned guesswork into data. It gave her back her confidence. There's an old saying in business, what gets measured gets managed. I want to offer you a version of your GAPS journey. What gets tracked gets healed, because when you track, you see patterns. When you see patterns, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you move forward faster. And when you move forward, you build confidence both in yourself and in the process. Your child's healing journey is unique. There is no one-size-fits-all protocol. The GAPS framework gives you the structure, but your child's responses tell you how to apply it. And the journal is how you listen. So today I want to invite you to start, like grab a notebook, open your phone, spend 3 minutes, write down what your child ate, how they slept, how they were throughout the day. Do it again tomorrow and the next day. You not just recording data, you are building a roadmap. You are documenting your child's journey back to health, and you are giving yourself the gift of clarity in a process that can feel overwhelming. So if you need help with your journaling, well, I have already said I have my own format in my diet program. If you need more clarity about the GAPS diet program and need a hand-holding step-by-step guidance along with the customized meal plan targeted only to your kids' progress, then go ahead and book a free one-on-one coaching call. If you like to grab one, link is given below. Follow me on my Instagram for more short and visual infos. My Instagram ID is given in the descriptions as well. If you already journal, I would love to hear what works for you. Drop your tips in the comments below, and if this video was helpful, please share it with another GAPS parent who might be feeling lost in the guesswork. Thank you for being here. Now go make your first entry and start turning guesswork into healing. Until next time, keep tracking, keep healing, and keep trusting your journey. You have got this. Bye-bye.